In this section, we will discuss about the VPC loop avoidance. We are going to see two cases. The very first case will be a Nexus 5500 switch, and the next uh, example that we are going to discuss, that will be Nexus 7000 switches. So in Nexus 5500 switches, the concept of loop avoidance is that these switches use the fabric tag value to avoid the loops into the VPC domain. So the primary switch is going to use the FTAG value of 256, and the secondary switch will use the value of 257. And the orphan ports on primary, they will be a part of FTAG 257, and the orphan ports in the secondary switch, they will be a part of FTAG 256. Let's see it with a example. So we can see here we do have our two switches, N5K1 and N5K2, and the two servers are connected, server 1 and server 2. So one is connected to 5K1 and server 2 is connected to N5K2. So now let's first see how we can come up with the loops in our network. So let's say from server 1, we do have one broadcast packet. So this is a layer 2 broadcast with all F values, right, in all the 4 octets. So this particular packet, let's say server 1 sends to N5K1. So because this is a broadcast packet and it received it on this particular interface, so N5K1 is going to send it to server 3 to N5K2 over the peer link and to this particular port, right? Now N5K2 receives this particular broadcast packet on the peer link. Now, and because this is a broadcast packet, and the default behavior is that it is going to send that particular frame to this port, right, and to this port and orphan port. Now you can see here that this packet again is received by server 1, and because this is a broadcast frame, it is going to send it to N5K1 again, and now we have a loop in our network, right? So this is all also the same in the other direction as well. So if server 2 sends a broadcast frame to, let's say, N5K2, so it is going to send it to this port, and to N5K1 over the peer link, because this is a broadcast packet or the frame. So N5K1 is going to send it to server 3 and server 1, and now just because of this broadcast behavior, server 1 is going to send it back to N5K2, and now again we have a loop in our network, right? So just to avoid these looping situations, in the 5500 switches, we do have a mechanism of FTAGs. So the primary switch in the 5500 switches, they use the FTAG value of 256. So all the VPC ports will be a part of 256 FTAG. So this is a VPC port. So both these two ports are the VPC port on primary. So they will be having a value of 256. On the secondary, these are the VPC ports, they will be a part of value 257. And the orphan ports, you can see here, orphan port on secondary will be a part of 256 FTAG, and orphan ports on the primary, that will be a part of 257 FTAG. So now let's see what happens now when the Nexus devices receives the broadcast. So server 1, let's say, sends the broadcast frame to N5K1. Okay, so now when N5K1 sends that particular frame over the peer link, it is going to put its FTAG value. So its FTAG value is 256. So now when N5K2 receives that particular frame, it will receive it with the FTAG value of 256, and it is going to send or broadcast that particular frame to all the ports which are a member of 256 FTAG group. So now you can see here only the orphan port is a member of 256 FTAG group, right? So that is why now in this case only the orphan port is going to receive that particular broadcast. Okay, so in that case now we don't have any looping situation, right? And that makes sense also, right? Because now N5K2, it can assume that because N5K1 is already connected to server 2, so it must have sent that particular broadcast to server 2 also on the VPC 20, right? So there is no point 4 and 5K to send this particular broadcast to VPC 10 member and to VPC 20 member. So this is how the Nexus 5500 devices avoid the loops into the VPC network. Now let's see what is the loop avoidance mechanism in the Nexus 7000 switches. So Nexus 7000 switches does not use the FTAG mechanism. They have some different mechanism to avoid the loops. Okay, so if we talk about the Nexus 7K devices, so in the Nexus 7K devices, there is a concept of a VSL bit. Okay, and how exactly it works is, so let's say server 1 sends the particular packet or broadcast to N7K1. Okay, it can be any broadcast packet or it's a normal data traffic. Okay, so we can just assuming this particular situation that server 1 sends a packet to N7K1 and N7K1 sends that particular packet to N7K2 over the peer link. So when N7K2 receives that particular receives a packet on the peer link, so on the ASIC ports itself, the VSL bit will be set. Okay, so the VSL bit will be set, and because in case of Nexus 7000, when a device receives any traffic on the peer link, so it is assuming that my peer sends that particular traffic for the orphan devices only. Okay, so what it does is that it will filter that particular packet on all the VPC member ports. So now that particular traffic can go onto the orphan ports only. So it will be filtered here and here because these two ports are a part of the VPC. Okay. Same is the case with the N7K2. If N7K2 is sending any traffic over the peer link to N7K1, so it is going to filter that particular, or it is going to set the VSL bit. Okay, and because of the behavior of VSL bit, that particular traffic will be filtered on the VPC member ports. So that is why only the orphan ports will receive that particular traffic. So this is how the VPC loop avoidance mechanism works. So in the VPC loop avoidance, there is one scenario wherein this loop avoidance mechanism will be bypassed. Okay, so what that will be, let me clean it. So if server 1 sends any packet to N7K1, so let's assume that this particular link from N7K1 to server 2 is down. So now if any packet comes to N7K1 to reach to server 2, then N7K1 doesn't have any other path but to send the traffic to N7K2 over the peer link, right? So now because N7K2 and N7K1, they are also exchanging the VPC member port status over the peer link using the Cisco Fabric Services Protocol. So see the N7K1 and N7K2, let's say they are forming here the VPC 20, right? So let's say this port in VPC port, this is the port number 1 by 1, and here also this is a port 1 by 1. Okay, so N7K2 knows that N7K1 link which is connected to server 2 in VPC 20, it is down. So now N7K1 cannot reach directly to server 2, so it has only one path which is over the peer link. So in that case, that VSL setting up the VSL bit, that process will be bypassed. And same is the case in the Nexus 5500 also. If the one leg of the primary device, or if one leg of the VPC is down, then the FTAG process will not be followed. Okay, because apart from a lot of information that N7K1 and N7K2 synchronize over the peer link using the Cisco Fabric services like MAC addresses and app table, IGMP information and all. So they are also exchanging the VPC member port status. They already knows, because now N7K2 and already knows that N7K1 by 1 link, which is a part of VPC 20, which is connected to server 2, is down. So that is why N7K1 is sending that particular traffic to me. So now in that case, I can allow that particular traffic to server 2 or to the VPC member port. Okay. So this is how the VPC loop avoidance mechanism works. So you can also consider it like this, that any traffic which enters from a VPC member port and it travels over the peer link, is not allowed to go to the VPC member ports unless there is a link down or something from the VPC. Okay. If there is a link down or one of the from the one of the member port, only then the traffic will be allowed to enter into a VPC member port and travel over the VPC peer link and go to the another VPC member port. Okay. So this is the VPC loop avoidance mechanism. In our next section, we will discuss about the HSRP and VRRP behavior into the VPC.